Good evening. So, shall we start with as usual, watching the breath mindfully for a few moments? Then we can try to generate good intention by thinking, by us coming here together, may become it cause conditions to actualize the realization of the sixth perfection within our mind stream. And having actualized the mind, sixth perfection within the mind stream, may we be able to be as much benefit and help to other sentient beings. And may it be causing conditions to achieve a fully awakened state of Buddhahood, so we can be greatest help and benefit to each and every sentient being. Okay. John, can you share the prayers? Okay, thank you. To the founder, the endowed, transcended, destroyer, the one gone beyond, the four destroyer, the completely perfect, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct. So God and all the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of God and human beings to you, the complete and fully awakened one. The endowed, transcended, destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shadow plane. I prostrate, make offering, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcended, destroyer, the one gone beyond, the four destroyer, the completely perfect, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct. Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of God and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one. The endowed, transcended, destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the shadow flame, I prostrate, make offering, go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcended, destroyer, the one gone beyond, the four destroyed, the completely perfect, the fully awakened, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct. Sugata Noro, the whole supreme God, the human beings to be tamed. Teacher of God, the human being to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendentalist, the glorious conqueror, the subdued from the Shakti offering, I prostrate, make offering God for the truth. Sa shi pe ge shun shin me to ta re ra le je yin de ge ban de sang ge shin tum mi de o ai do kun namada shin che pa jo idam guru rana mendala andiyataya. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly by the merits I create to listen to the Dhamma. May I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient. Sangye Chodan Soge Sonam Sanju Pado Dane Dagi Shoshe Give Sonam Dola Tenje Sangye Duva Sangye Chodan Soge Sonam Sanju Pado Dane Dagi Shoshe Give Sonam Dola Tenje Sangye Duva. So far, we have finished the part where small scope practice, middle scope, and then within the great scope practice, calibrating both to the mind, and having calibrated both to the mind, then training in the practice of also conduct or the perfections. And within that, we kind of touch on and discuss a little bit about the practice of perfection, generosity, moral discipline, and patience a little bit, I think, last week. And the fourth one is the practice of joyous effort in virtues, and or enthusiasm in virtues. Again, in order to cultivate that practice, the practice of joyous effort in our virtues, then of course the opposing factors is all about overcoming the opposing factors and gathering the conducive conditions in order, and it is opposing the, three opposing factors of three kind of laziness, because if we are lazy, then we don't have the enthusiasm, we don't have the, joyous effort in our practice meditations. So overcoming that, and having overcome the, through different practice meditations on the laziness, then we try to develop the joyous effort by, gathering the four conducive conditions, and that is cultivating the aspirations, So we try to generate aspirations by, reflecting, contemplating, and understanding the incredible benefit of the virtues, incredible benefit of the practice. The more you reflect, contemplate, the more you understand and feel incredible benefit of the practice itself, the virtue itself. Then you have more aspirations, and then also you need to develop steady mind or self-confidence in the practice. And so again, we try to reflect, contemplate on all the potential that we have, and the Buddha nature, the highest level of potential that we all have, Buddha nature. And therefore, no matter how difficult the practice, the virtues might seem at this point, but we do have the potential to overcome all the obstacles and to um, perfect and complete the practice and generate that practice of the virtues. So having a strong self-confidence helps, in your practice, in your potentials. Um, because if you don't have the confidence, um, in your practice and your ability to complete and perfect the practice, then, again, we might not get same kind of level of inspirations or enthusiasm and joyfulness in the practice and the virtue itself. And then, we need to find a joyfulness, in our practice, in our virtues, finding a way to make it more, finding a way to make it more creative, that it become more joyful, more enjoyable, instead of becoming it more like a burden, instead of becoming it a source of more stress and burden. We have to make it more enjoyable, so that you have a lot of joyfulness in doing that. And if you find a joyfulness in that, and definitely, you will feel less, you will be more encouraged and to do the practice. You will find a more time, energy to do the practice. You will have less, laziness, less tiredness in doing the practice, and you will find a more effort in the practice. And with that kind of effort, then definitely you will have a better result. And then, when you try to practice any virtues, any meditations, trying to find the balance, of knowing when we need to rest or relax, knowing when to relax, knowing, and when we need to kind of push ourselves a little bit because we are being too lazy, and then knowing when to push, how much to push, and finding that balance is the key for to have more continuity of the practice and continuity of the joyous effort in that practice. Because if we don't find that balance, sometimes we push ourselves too much, and we don't know how to relax when our body needs to relax, when our mind needs to relax. Then, we push ourselves too much, and then that becomes obstacles. Another obstacles is sometimes we don't push ourselves when we need. We become too lazy and kind of careless, lazy, and again, by that, then we waste a lot of time and not being able to practice, and so again, such time when we are becoming just a kind of being just a lazy, and then when we need to push it, put little effort, push it, we need to push an effort, but not too much. So it is all finding that balance. So through that, inspirations, steady mind, and joyfulness, and kind of resting when it needed, through all that coming together, then we can improve and increase our joyous effort or enthusiasm in our virtues. So that is, and within the joyous effort, again, there are three different kind of joyous effort, more like joyous effort, the joyous effort in engaging in the other virtuous practice, and joyous effort in helping and benefiting others. So again, without going in detail, just to kind of touching on that, okay? So then, in terms of the last two, the shamatha and the wisdom, then here Adisha authors go more detail in that. Did we finish verse number 32? I think we're on verse number 32. Yeah? Yeah. So here in verse number 32, it says, when those observing the vows of the active altruistic intention have trained well, so after we have trained our bodhicitta mind, altruistic intention, or the bodhicitta mind well, then we take the vows, aspiring and engaging both of the vows, and then after we have received the aspiring and engaging both of vows, then we will try to observe, or we'll try to keep them as pure as possible, and keeping those the training in the moral discipline of the bodhisattvas. The bodhisattva's moral discipline is then in the threefold discipline. Threefold moral bodhisattva moral discipline, and that is bodhisattva moral practice of bodhisattva moral discipline of restraining or avoiding from the misdeeds through body, speech, and mind, and the training in moral discipline, bodhisattva moral discipline of engaging with the virtues and then engaging into the well-being of others. So those are the three forms of the moral discipline of bodhisattvas, which we need to train, and their respect for those three forms of discipline grows. And so as we try to observe and keep purely of those vows and precepts after we have taken, with a mindfulness and with a vigilant mind, and the more we are able to keep them, observe them, the more we experience the positive result from those practices. And the more we experience positive result from those practices, the more we develop respect for those practices. The more we develop respect for these three moral discipline of the bodhisattvas. So that kind of respect grows within our mind, and the respect grows towards those practices because we have experienced, we have tasted of that, and with our own experience, having practiced that. And through that kind of discipline, moral discipline of three form of moral discipline, that way, our respect grow, as well as those practice grow and become more stronger, more powerful. And with that kind of more stronger and powerful practice of three kind of those moral discipline, then those which cause purity of body, speech, and mind, and that help our mind to be more pure. That help our mind to be speech to be more pure. That help our mind, body to be more pure. In a sense that we don't engage into a immoral, unethical attitude, mindset, unethical speech, unethical physical behavior. And not only it doesn't, engage in those unethical, but also, through practice, it helps us to practice, more ethical and more virtuous through body, speech, and mind. And through that, then our body, speech, and get more and more purity, and perfect and complete that purity. Therefore, through effort in the vows made by the bodhisattvas for pure enlightenment, so after one actualize the bodhicitta mind, then you take those precepts or vows of aspiring and engaging bodhisattva vows. And those vows, we take it, we take those vows, the bodhisattvas take those vows in order to achieve the pure and most perfect and complete state of full enlightenment, so they can be most benefit to each and every sentient beings, And the way to achieve that kind of pure, perfect, complete enlightenment is through the practice of collections. The collection for complete enlightenment will be truly accomplished. Then through the practice of you know, such as six perfection, or such as the practice of three moral discipline of the Bodhisattvas. Then, we create all the cause and conditions, all the cause to accomplish that kind of pure and perfect and complete enlightenment. So as it is mentioned, all the Bodhisattvas practice, can be contents within the practice of the three moral discipline of the Bodhisattvas, because it's one, refraining from any harmful, is refraining from any kind of a harmful action done through body, speech, and mind, and engaging into the virtues, all different virtues practice, and then benefiting other sentient beings, working for the well-being of other sentient beings. Those are the three moral disciplines. So all the Bodhisattvas practice can be contained within that. And so when we practice that well within that context, then we can complete the course to accomplish that full enlightenment. So, so that with that, it complete the practice of moral discipline, but the perfection of moral discipline, and which is the practice of moral discipline, perfection of moral discipline, act as the foundations for the practice of karma abiding or shamatha, and especially insight, wisdom, So, okay. So those three higher trainings, the practicing three higher training, are training to overcome, unwholesome non-virtues and harmful actions, through the practice of moral discipline, the focus, especially the moral discipline of avoiding misdeeds, the focus is to avoid any kind of actions, physical and verbal actions, that can be harmful to others. Then in terms of training the mind, then, not only we don't, through the training the mind of, shamatha, karma abiding, or meditative concentrations, then not only you try to restrain or avoid from engaging in unwholesome, non-virtuous, harmful speech and body, but you also try to stop the harmful, the root, the motivation or intentions, or the root of that kind of behavior, the mind itself, from manifesting it. So through the training in the single-pointed concentration, then you don't allow that kind of negative mind, such as anger, hatred, such as strong cravings, and all that from manifesting. You kind of, through your practice, you subside them and doesn't allow it to manifest. And if those mind does not manifest, then you wouldn't act then through body and speech. And so not only now you avoid that action, but now you avoid even the mind that leads to that kind of actions or behavior from manifesting it. The delusion from manifesting it. And then the wisdom, when training the wisdom, not only you don't stop from manifesting of the delusion, but you actually cut the very root of the delusions completely. From the very root, you destroy and you cut from the very root of the delusion themselves. So again, you can see it is a training, it's a practice that started more easy practice and go more subtle and deeper, and more subtle and deeper to the very, destroying the very root of all the problems and sufferings of harm of oneself and all others. So that is kind of three higher trainings. Okay, So in terms of the next ones, in terms of the training of the, karma abiding or shamatha, then why we need to cultivate psychic power, such as clairvoyance. Okay. The reasons why one should, as a practitioner, why one should develop a psychic power, such as clairvoyance, and then how that kind of clairvoyance and psychic power depend on karma abiding. You can achieve such a clairvoyance or psychic power, only on the basis of having cultivated the karma abiding shamatha. Without the karma abiding shamatha, one cannot develop such clairvoyance and psychic powers, And then, how to cultivate or how to develop the karma abiding or material concentration shamatha. And so then next one, in relation to the first one, why, we need to cultivate the why we need to cultivate. So, yeah. So here the reason to cultivate. Here the Adisha explained the reason to cultivate a karma abiding is so that by depending on karma abiding, then we can achieve, if we practice and meditate, we can achieve clairvoyance and psychic power. And if we can achieve psychic power and clairvoyance, then we can be much more benefit to other sentient beings. Through those psychic power and clairvoyance, then we can be much more benefit to other sentient beings. Therefore, in order to be much more greater benefit and help to sentient beings, you need the psychic power and such as clairvoyance. In order to have a psychic power such as clairvoyance, then one need to have one need to cultivate the karma abiding. So that is why here. In Shantideva, the reason given is slightly different, and that is the main. In Shantideva, in chapter 9, as he said, we need to cultivate the karma abiding, because without the karma abiding, we cannot develop the special insight, the wisdom. Without a special insight, wisdom, then we cannot destroy the delusion from the very root of that. Without destroying the delusion from the very root of it, then we cannot free from the samsara and the delusion forever. So, but there's no contradictions to that. The both are, in order to develop the special insight, the wisdom, definitely we need a karma abiding. Without a karma abiding, one cannot achieve that at all. And also, without karma abiding, there's no way we can be able to actualize and develop clairvoyance and psychic power. And without that, again, the help and benefit we can do to others can be very limited, so that is where the verse number 34, All the Buddha said the cause for completion of collections, whose nature is merit and exalted wisdom, is the development of higher perceptions. So here, the higher perceptions is a clairvoyance, okay? I think they use a different translation here, so it says the Buddha has mentioned, that in order to achieve enlightenment, fully enlightenment, to be greatest benefit and help to all sentient beings, in order to achieve the fully enlightenment, then one need to collect. One need to accumulate two collections, the collection of merit and the collection of wisdom. And the collection of wisdom and the merit is the cause that is the main cause that lead to the fully enlightenment. Okay? Fully enlightenment. And so we need to accumulate the collection of merit and wisdom. And it's the same thing Nagarjuna explained, or Nagarjuna in one of his dedication prayers, as he said, due to all these virtues, may all sentient beings be able to complete the two collections, the collection of merit and wisdom. And having accumulated and completed the collection of merit and wisdom, may they achieve the holy body, or two holy bodies of Buddha, the Dhammakaya and the Rupakaya. So basically, in order to achieve enlightenment, to be benefit to all sentient beings, then we have to actualize the Dhammakaya wisdom Dhammakaya, and the form body to benefit health through teachings and so on, is Nirmanakaya and Sambhavakaya, And the main principal cause of Dhammakaya wisdom is the wisdom, and then according to the sutra, and the main principal cause of the Rupakaya, the form body, is the merit. The form bodies of enlightened beings, such as having major and minor signs of enlightenment, 32 major and 80 minor signs of enlightenment. They all are result of different merit that we create. Different merit we create. So the Buddha is the result of those two collections. And in order to complete those two collections, the collection of merit and the collection of wisdom, if you have clairvoyance, if you have those psychic power of such as clairvoyance, then you can accumulate two collections much more, profound in a moment than if someone who doesn't have clairvoyance and psychic and who engage in a practice, then someone who has clairvoyance and psychic and who is practice and help. So therefore, in order to, so that is, is the development of high precepts. Just as the bird with undeveloped wings cannot fly in the sky, so example, the bird, in order to fly, they need both wings. If one of them wings not developed, or if both of them are not developed, then the bird cannot fly in the sky. Same way, those without the power of high perceptions, and so those without the power of high perceptions, such as psychic power, such as clairvoyance, then one cannot work for the good of well-being, living being. Even though you can be help and benefit, but you cannot be great help and benefit. On the other hand, if you have the clairvoyance, such as clairvoyance, you can be great benefit and help to others. And that is what we see when you are trying to help and benefit others, even within your families, within your friends, within your colleague. We are unable to be great benefit because we cannot understand what they need, what is going in their mind, what are their needs. If we understand all of that, then we will be able to help and benefit. Because at the moment, we try to help and benefit a lot of time on the basis of our assumptions, or based on that, maybe they need this help, or maybe this will be the best help for them, all kind of, without really understanding what their real needs are and what they really needs. And so, but on the other hand, if you are the clairvoyance, then, psychic power, then we understand their mental state, their karma, their predispositions, and what their needs are, and what can be best help and benefit to them. And through that, then we will be much more greater help and benefit to living sentient beings. So therefore, that is why. And so here it says the merit gained in a single day by one who possesses higher perceptions. So who possesses higher perceptions, such as again clairvoyance and psychic power, cannot be gained even in a hundred's lifetime by one without such higher perceptions, So from that, then if you have the higher perception, the clairvoyance, psychic power, then you can create merit so quickly, so fast, so quickly, because someone without that who might create merit for 100 lifetime, that person with that, they can create merit in one moment of that. And such, here not Adisha said, but those of them, all this had explained by Buddha in the Prajnaparamita Sutras, Adisha, all of this again, he's not just making up based on sutras, Prajnaparamitas, And in order to develop such a psychic power, such as clairvoyance, that can be great tools to help, great tool for us to be greatest benefit and help other sentient beings. Then we need to develop in order to develop that, we need to develop the karma abiding. In order to develop the karma abiding, then you need a lot of perseverance, effort. Thus, the shamatha or the karma abiding cannot be developed without a very strong perseverance, without strong effort. It cannot be developed with a kind of laziness and without such. And so therefore, the needs of a very strong practice of meditation with a full of perseverance and with a full of effort in order to achieve the clairvoyance and the higher perceptions or clairvoyances, psychic power. So in terms of, yeah, maybe and in many scriptures, they explain about 6 types of clairvoyance, that can be cultivated. The clairvoyance of divine eye, the clairvoyance of divine ear, the clairvoyance of knowing others' mind, the clairvoyance of knowing previous lives, and the clairvoyance of miracle powers, the clairvoyance of cessation of defilements. So those are you find those 6 different kind of mentioning of different kind of clairvoyance that one can develop to be more greater benefit as we develop those, so the clairvoyance of divine eyes is, that you have ability, to see, even the most subtle, matters from very long distance, even the small matters, from very, very long distance, as well as have a direct understanding or realizations of, birth and death of all the previous life of death and birth, So that is the, and that divine clearance of divine air, is to be able to hear and understand, even the most subtle sound, and not only most subtle sounds, but from more distant, long distance, So, and so if you can, again, if you have that kind of power, then you can be a great benefit, even for those who are distant, So that is, and then clairvoyance of knowing others' mind, knowing others' mind, whatever's going in their mind, if they are frustrated, if they are impatient, if they are sad, if they are kind of happy, relaxed, if they are weary, So if you know that, then again, you might be able to be greater benefit and help, by understanding what state of mind they are going through. On the based on that, then how you can help them in that moment, depending on what state of mind they are going through, Mm. Mm. And then the clairvoyance of knowing previous life is, knowing, the life of yourself and others, previous lives, different previous life, due to whatever different virtues and non-virtues, that whatever different life we have taken, and if you know that, then again, we can be great help, benefit, I guess, like I heard about, how a lot of people get kind of help from hypnosis, what do you call
hypnosis.
Hypnosis, yeah. Some people who are dealing with some problems and they cannot solve, they don't know why they have that issues, a certain problem, and through that kind of therapy, supposedly where they are leading their previous life and relating why they have this because of from their past of something, and once they understand that, then they kind of get healed, and so imagine someone having a problems, they can't understand why they have that problems, but then once they understand the main cause of that problems of the past, we can point out and clearly we can be helpful to heal them and solve the problems. Also, it can be helpful to encourage others to practice more virtues, because of your past this and this practice, therefore you are having all these success, good things. And also we can able to help them to discourage from engage non-virtues, because again we can see why they are having all this difficulty and challenges because they are past of these actions and this. So it can be very, very helpful to benefit other sentient beings if we know that. It is interesting, how how people can be healed of certain struggles and certain suffering and certain problem once they recognize the very root problem of that and relate that. I was watching, not long time ago, there is one kind of in YouTube there are many on that. There's a one child in the US who remember as a Second World War pilot being shot, and that story has been covered by all the big medias, interview by CNN, Fox, ABC, there's a lot of interview. I think that must have been like 20, 30 years ago, seems like, or maybe not that long. I don't know exactly when, but so anyway, and it's very fascinating about that child. And according to in that, what you saw is that child has some kind of nightmare. He has that nightmare. He has this nightmare of someone drowning into the water and trying to open the door and trying to get out of it. And he had the constant nightmare all the time, and making this short at the end, and this boy talk about things that the parent doesn't believe at the very beginning, but then his father started to Google some of the things he said, and then he find strange things that he says, and then he started to do more research and all different interviews and all that. And it was covered by those big media, and then the news also came into Japan, and they invited him and his family, where he remembered as being shot in one of those islands. And there is a scene. Of course, there's a crew with them, the news crew, and the boy and the parent on the boat. The boy is carrying a flower. Go to the, I don't know, it is ocean or lake in water. It might have been oceans where he remembered as being shot. And then the moment they reach the place where he threw the flowers. I think he was around 12 years at that time. He started to remember when he was 2, 3, and talk about it. So by the time he was by, I think 12 years or something. And then he threw the flower in the water. And the mom said, after that, his nightmare went. It's like something unfinished, something he haven't finished and something he need to deal with. And now it is like closing the chapter, being at the places where he was supposed to be shot, and he's playing, drowning in the water, and he's trying to open and get out of it and not being able to do that. And that was the nightmare he was having. And once he was able to connect that, and with all that, then it is kind of, he completely kind of really healed, or the nightmare went, So it is interesting, just to give idea, when you remember, whether yourself or able to point to someone's why they are having some problem, not necessarily because they are bad, but because it is something to do in the past. And when they are able to see that and relate that, they can be huge relief, just like hypnosis, So anyway, so that was the clearance of knowing previous life, and the clairvoyance of miracle power, and so with these miracle powers, then you are able to kind of travel, quickly like a light. So wherever the sentient beings needed help, you can be there in a moment, So unlike like at the moment where we cannot be in the places immediately, quickly, where it is needed. But when you have that kind of clairvoyance of the miracle, then you are able to be wherever help is needed, to be able to be there immediately, quickly. And so that way, again, you can be great help and benefit, And then clairvoyance, success, and defilements is, when you the clairvoyance, that when your mind is free from all the delusion, all the defilements, And so those are that clairvoyance you can only achieve when you achieve arhat, So you cannot achieve that 6 clairvoyance earlier until you are, whether you achieve arhat, until you are free from all the delusions. But other 5 clairvoyance you can achieve much more earlier if you have achieved, if one is able to achieve the karma abiding, and on the basis of, on the foundation of karma abiding, then if you practice to achieve them, then you can achieve them, and there are many, the cause of those. There is, there is a much more detail on that, the cause of each of those. Of course, one of the main cause to achieve that is karma abiding or shamatha, but also there are other causes, karmic causes, different karmic causes to each of them. There are different result of each of them, different result of each of them, different actions in relation to them, and all of that. But I think maybe we don't need to go in all detail of them, So it is just to kind of touch on that without going in each of those details, okay? So that is why with such high perception, how we can create merit, a huge amount of merit in a short period, and with a virtues, And so then the next one, where it says 37, those who want swiftly to complete the collections, so the collection of the merit and wisdom, which are the main cause of full enlightenment. For the full enlightenment will accomplish higher perceptions, So for that, then you have to accomplish the higher perception, the clairvoyance, the psychic power of clairvoyance. And in order to achieve such clairvoyance or higher perception, then one needs a lot of effort. Through effort, not through laziness. One cannot achieve such clairvoyance with the laziness, but instead overcoming the laziness and with a lot of perseverance and effort, then one can achieve that. And so therefore, one should put a lot of effort. Therefore, one should put a lot of effort in our practice and overcome the laziness in order to achieve that. And the next one, without attainment or karma abiding, high perception will not occur. So without achieving the karma abiding, the meditative state of karma abiding, there's no way one can achieve that high perception of clairvoyance. It's not possible. The main mental cause or realizations, the principal realization or mental cause to such perception is the karma abiding. Therefore, make repeated effort to accomplish calm abiding. And therefore, one should work very, therefore, one should put a lot of effort in order to actualize the calm abiding. So, we need to cultivate the calm abiding for various reasons. To achieve enlightenment. Without a calm abiding, one cannot achieve enlightenment, fully enlightenment. Without a calm abiding, one cannot achieve the nirvana. Without the calm abiding, one cannot achieve the wisdom of special insight. And without calm abiding, one will be not able to concentrate so well. And without concentrations, strong concentration, it's hard to achieve anything. Without concentrations, with a wandering mind, it's hard to achieve any realization. It becomes very, very difficult. It becomes difficult and not easy to achieve any kind of spiritual realizations without the calm abiding. It's not impossible, but it comes with a lot of effort, a lot of difficulties, with a lot of time. On the other hand, if we have a calm abiding and with that kind of concentrations and free from the laziness and free from wandering mind, and when you practice, when you meditate, when you are fully, totally in the practice meditation without distraction, without wandering mind, then you can achieve any of those different realizations more easily, more quickly. So therefore, developing calm abiding become very important. And not only that, when we have developed calm abiding, as the term itself, your mind, you can remain your mind very peaceful and calm. All the waves and the chains of never-ending thoughts cease when you have the calm abiding. All of those. At the moment, we have endless chains and the waves of thought, one after another. When you have calm abiding, all this cease, all this stops. And there is no more that waves and chains of the endless thoughts. And so that your mind can be very peaceful and calm when you don't have all these thoughts of worry and fear and all different thoughts, of past and futures, resentment, anger, cravings, all kind of those all started to sink. All these waves of thoughts, emotion will sink. And when they all sink down, it's no more active. So then there is kind of calmness, peacefulness, stillness, stability, So we need that calm. And when your mind is due to that calm abiding, when your mind is such a peaceful, calm, still stability, then it also helps your physical health as well. It helps your mental well-being as well as it helps physical well-being. And even if you have some issues, health, it helps you to respond better to the treatments, whatever treatment that is, when your mind is more calm, peaceful, positive, still, definitely it will respond better to the treatment. On the other hand, when our mind is, have too much thoughts, worry, fear, anxiety, or other form of different negative emotions and thought, then, um, it affects to the result of treatment. It doesn't respond as well as it can be. So again, that can so it helps in all different levels of that. And again, if we have better concentration, of course, we can do a better job in everything that we do in our life. At the moment, not having concentrations is that one of the problems we have in doing anything that we do in our life, due to lack of concentration, But if we have strong concentration, then definitely whatever we do, not only Dharma practice and meditation and practice, that we will be able to do better with more success, more easily, but also even our daily activities, we will be able to do much more better in whatever we try to do when we have such a single point of concentration or the karma abiding. So then 39, while the conditional karma abiding are incomplete, meditative stabilizations will not be accomplished, even if one meditates strenuously for thousands of years. So here is saying, in order to cultivate such kind of meditative stabilization, meditative concentration, or karma abiding, not only you need to meditate, of course, you need to meditate in order to accomplish that, in order to develop that, but you need to, gather all the conditions for that. If the conditions are not that, then even you try to meditate, you will not have success, even after meditating for long times. And the conditions here, as is described in many of the lumbering and all, is dwelling in a quiet place, less distractions, conducive for the practice, conducive for the meditations, so less noisy, less distractions physically, Once you have achieved karma abiding, it doesn't matter. Once you have achieved karma abiding, even you are in a noisy place, it will not distract you because you have that, now you have that capacity, ability to be in that meditation without being. But when you are at the very beginning trying to develop, karma abiding, meditative concentration, then it is important to have a conducive place where you have less noise, not only from the human beings and animals, also less noise from the nature, whether it is running of the water or too much wind and all of that. Because when we have all this noise, our mind follow them. You hear the noise and your mind started to follow that sound, and then your mind get distracted. Your mind started to wander off because you saw something or because you hear something, and your mind just follow it, for the beginners, because we don't have control over our mind. So our mind follow our sense consciousness, depending on what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, so our mind started to follow, If you hear sound, then a thought, oh, it's a nice sound, or it's a bad sound, oh, it's a soothing sound, oh, it is a bird sound, oh, it must be blue jay. The sound seems like blue jay. Or, oh, it's a time when the blue jets are migrating now. All kind of these thoughts started to come and your mind get caught up in that. That is why, and even with the even though the sound of water flowing, even though it might be soothing for our certain degree, our body and mind, but when you are trying to develop single pointed concentration, that could be also distraction beginning. So even not to have that kind of, better not to have that kind of noise, especially for the beginner to trying to develop strong shamatha like that. So having a place where it's very quiet, free from all the noise, is one of the conditions, ideal conditions to develop the kamabhaya. And not only than that, then having a less desire is another, because a lot of time if you watch our mind mostly follow after desire, a lot of desire. The more desire, oh, I wish I could have this, I wish I could have that, it's a desire. I wish, my meditation place might be more open, I wish the weather can be better for my meditation. I wish my cushion can be more soft, I wish someone can cook for me, so I don't have to do. So all these thoughts come, and again, our mind wander, following those thoughts. And all these are part of desire, wanting to have better cushions, wanting to have a better environment for the meditations, wanting to have better weather for the meditations, wanting to have this and that, all these things, And so less desire we have, less thought we have. Less thought we have, less distractions we have internally, mentally, and our mind wanders less. When our mind wanders less and less distraction, our mind is able to focus on the whatever object that we're trying to meditate on. Keep fixed and placed on the objects. And so therefore we have better result. And then, one of the conditions that is described, is being content, the mind being content with what you have, instead of wanting better, more, or all of that, And again, that is one of the obstacles in our practice meditations, Before we have something, we just feel, if only I could have a separate room for meditation, that would be great. Once you have separate room for meditation, you are not content. Or I wish this could have more light. Now you are not satisfied with just having a room. Now you wish it could be more light. Or maybe you wish it's too light. Maybe I wish it could be a little bit dark. Or you wish, it's too small. I wish it can be very vast, so I can look and I can feel vast. That will help my meditations. All kind of things. Again, all these become obstacles. All these are wandering minds. All these are thought that become obstacle. And because that kind of thought arises, because we are not content with our state situations of that, when you are meditating in the mountain, you wish maybe I could be by the beach. When you are on the beach, you wish you could be by the mountains. All those kind of things. Never been content, and then therefore, no matter how much in your mind, even you try to find exactly, if someone asks you to write your ideal, the perfect conditions or place or to meditate, and then you find a place, you tick everything, and if you are not content, after a few weeks, months, you will start to find problem with that. I thought this was just ideal, but now I'm realizing it's not. I wish it could be different. I wish I could have done differently, all of that. So that comes because of not being content. And so that become obstacles. So again, being content is one of the conditions to have a better success in our developing karma abiding mental concentrations, So another conditions, is foundation or moral discipline, moral discipline. So again, that play another, if you have a good foundation or moral discipline, again, that can help you because when we have a strong practice of moral discipline, then we are able to kind of stop many of the external distractions or gross distraction and many of the external and gross distractions. And when you are free from many of those external and gross distractions, then it helps you to overcome the subtle and inner distractions. And then they also call it also says completely abandon the many demand of society. So in a sense that when you are trying to develop is really when you are really if you are trying to really develop karma abiding, not just to improve your meditation and concentration, but if you are really trying to dedicate yourself to develop karma abiding, then you should give up all of those things. If you keep on running for the needs of society, or I need to go and take care of my children, I need to go and take care of my friends, families, all this you can become, and again, you cannot really, your mind get distracted again with all these things, so that is why you need to be completely free from all this demand of the society if you are really serious on developing karma abiding. Someone who really want to dedicate their life, or at least for a few years, to see whether they can develop their karma abiding, then they have to let go of all of that and just, totally free from all of that. Then you will have more success in what you are trying to achieve. You will have, there's a chance of succeeding to be able to achieve that. Otherwise, you feel like you are getting there, and then you get involved with all these the needs and demands of societies, and then you started to lose your stability of the mind, concentration, because now you get too distracted by all those things. Especially when we haven't achieved that, and we're still in that. And abandoning too much conceptual thoughts, from having too much desire, and so that is another. And so basically, it is not only being retreat from external conditions, but also retreat in your mind, free from all this noisy. Not only free from the external noisiness, but free from internal noisiness. The internal noisiness is all these thoughts, conceptions that pop up here and there all the time. Either thought about past or thought about futures, So lot of time our mind is distracted by either event from the past, experience from the past, or about futures, what could happen, what might have happened, all of those about the futures. And our mind not being in the moment, in the present. In order to develop karma abiding, you should be able to focus your mind in the object, in the present, in the moment. The moment your mind follow the past and future, your mind has started to wander. Your mind has started to get distracted. And so that is why here it says, without all these conditions put together, just trying to meditate without those conditions, you will not be able to achieve even after meditating for 1,000 years, because you haven't created the right conditions. It's like, you are trying to drive to somewhere. If the road is so bad, without fixing the road, it will take you ages to reach there. But if you fix the road, then you can reach there very fast. The condition to reach there fast is better road if you are driving. And if there's better road, then definitely you will be able to reach there quickly, fast, easy, fast. And so the conditions is very important. Sometimes, again, we neglect the conditions. And then we just, without putting the right conditions, then we might be just focusing on the practice meditation itself. And sometimes that is one of the reasons why also we kind of do not have as much success, and so that is where here where Lama Adisha says. So, any questions from today's so far? Do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, please. Yes.
Is trying to attain clairvoyance a worthy goal, or is it? I mean, it might be a lofty ideal to be able to be clairvoyant, but yet one needs to practice calm abiding. So you could be at fault trying to jump over calm abiding and just get to the becoming clairvoyant. So that seems like that would be kind of tricky.
Yeah. According to the author, the Adisha, and many other teachings, you cannot develop clairvoyance without the karma abiding. First, you need to develop the clairvoyance. First you need to develop the karma abiding in order to develop the clairvoyance. So you cannot skip it, and you can still achieve clairvoyance you cannot skip the karma abiding and still achieve the clairvoyance. It's not possible. So if someone want to achieve clairvoyance, first they need to develop karma abiding. Once they have developed karma abiding, then they use that karma abiding as a tool to develop the clairvoyance. So that is the next step meditation once you have developed the karma abiding. But without cultivating the karma abiding, you cannot develop clairvoyance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, for the bodhisattvas, the only reason they want to develop clairvoyance is so that they can be more benefit and help to others. There's no other more reason than that.
Right.
So again, it has to be supported by the bodhicitta mind, the wish to benefit to others, even when someone is trying to develop. Because if we don't have the bodhicitta mind, if someone doesn't have the bodhicitta mind, true compassions, and if they are able to develop first, karma abiding, and on the basis of karma abiding, if they are able to develop clairvoyance, there is a danger that they can misuse it. They can misuse their psychic power. They can misuse their clairvoyance and all these miracle powers if they don't have bodhicitta and compassion. If they have bodhicitta and compassion, they will never misuse it. But if someone doesn't have those compassion and bodhicitta mind, and they have all this kind of power, then they can misuse as well. So therefore, also, even this practice is kind of taught after someone has cultivated the bodhicitta mind, After cultivating the bodhicitta mind, then how to engage in the practice of the bodhisattva's practice. And as part of that, one of that is that. Yeah.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? If not, then we stop here, because next one from the 40, then it explains the method or the how to cultivate the karma abiding. Up to here, it discusses about why we need to develop karma abiding and the need to gather the conditions to develop the karma abiding. And next one is how to practice the karma abiding, or how to practice in order to cultivate the karma abiding. So probably I will just leave it there at the moment. So if there is no question, then we can do the dedications.
Okay, so we will dedicate the merit for having listened to the teachings of for beings to be free of their obstacles. And the names we have on our list are Dorcas Raynard and family, Jane, Adrian, Jim Bailey, Isaiah, and Mara. And the merit for those, yes?
Kennedy for obstacles also.
Kennedy.
Yeah, thank you.
And Alyssa for obstacles, please.
All right, Kennedy and Alyssa. Those who are suffering from illness, may they be freed from their illness. And we have Walter Raynard, John B, Dutch D. Anybody have others?
Yes, Diane L. And
Diane.
Cordia,
And Corgi.
Cordia, Cordia. And that's all right now for me.
Okay. And for those, dedicate the merit toward fortunate rebirth of Albert Biedenhorn, Stephanie Francisco, John Lomkin, and Lorraine Schwartz. Any others? So thank you.
Gyawadi Dhamma Sangye do yo ne do wa chi yang ma le pa te sa la que va la sho chang jo sen jo ren bo che ma ke pa na ke gyu che ke wa nyam ba me ba yang kong le kong du ke wa la sho Jide kamde pende malu ba kamde chungwe sambe ishe no kadin chungme tenzen jazo la sowa deso tuje gundu sho tuzu shangshin changgen jawe le ten zin zhong pewe kunzu to polo zhe cho song gowe le mo tu tu pa 道所度皆滚度小等手，大巴努周萨的多瓦，拉雅瓦坤的拉别听见见，那样三心手的地主，所卷拉嘎林天别去下手。Thank you, everyone.
Geshe, for beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path. You are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.